My name's Phoebe and I'm part of the STEM response team at the University of Wolverhampton. In this video, we're going to be exploring some awesome hints and tips on efficient note-taking. Tip number 1. Keep separate notebooks. Use a different notebook for each of your different subjects or modules. This way, your notes will be way easier to find later when you're revising each subject or module. Maybe have those books in different colours too if you like, or you can even make some fancy labels for the front, whatever you like. So tip number 2, colour coding your notes. So by colour coding your notes by subject or module type, you'll be able to find each subject's notes way more easily later. You can take this one step further by colour coding any keywords and phrases that you're putting in your notes. But don't use too many colours, 1 or 2 should suffice. Colour coding is something that you can do later in your notes. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it in class because you want to be taking your notes efficiently and quickly. This is a sort of technique I would recommend for when you're making your neater notes later on. Tip number 3, make a list of definitions. So as you go along in your classes, take a note of any keywords or phrases that you might hear and make a note of their definitions or what they mean. So if you forget at any point, it'll be way easier to find out later on. This is also really helpful if you're trying to make things like flashcards, where having key terms and phrases on a single card is way easier to memorise. Tip number 4, use symbols and abbreviations in your notes. So by using quick symbols and abbreviations, your note taking will be way faster so you can keep up with the class. For example, using ABT to mean about or SCTN for section. Also, use arrows to show an increase or a decrease. So, for example, if the light increases, and that's part of your note, put light up arrow. I always found that really worked for me and was a really quick way of writing it down. Make sure that you understand these abbreviations. So maybe at the back of your book or at the end of your notes for that page, make a quick note on what these abbreviations mean so that when you come back to study them later, you're not sat there all confused wondering what your notes mean. Tip number 5, don't stress about that handwriting of yours. You shouldn't be worried about it because at the end of the day, you are going to be the only one reading them. Spelling and grammar isn't a big deal either. At the end of the day, as long as you can go back to your raw notes from class and you can fully understand them, you're good to go. This means that you can write your notes a bit quicker, keep up with the class, and you're not having to worry about making sure you've dotted your I's or crossed your T's or joined everything up correctly. Top note-taking tip number 6, summaries are vital. So a really good way of making use of summaries if your textbook doesn't come with those is to go through the textbook or notes that you're studying. Go through and write a 1-sentence summary for each paragraph on that page. This is called a summary. And these are important because remembering a handful of sentences is much easier than trying to memorise paragraph upon paragraph upon paragraph. This also means that you're only memorising the most important content and not any of the filler words or bits that aren't necessarily needed for your final exams or coursework. And finally, note-taking tip number 7 is to actually use your notes. It's all well and good making notes in class and making them look pretty afterwards, but at the end of the day, if you're not using your notes, what's the point? So a big tip of mine is to get your raw notes, which are the quick abbreviated notes you made in class, and to rewrite those into a format that works best for you. This could be full colour-coded pages of notes. This could be in the form of diagrams, flashcards, etc. That's what worked for me. So not only does this process help you to remember your notes, because as you're rewriting everything down, by writing it you're rememorising it and it's therefore revision in itself, you're also making your notes easier to look at because at the end of the day, who wants to look at messy notes? If you make them nicer to the eye, that way you'll actually want to study them more. A little extra tip from me is to try different revision methods. So when you're writing down your fresh notes after you've got your raw ones from in class, try different things. Try full pages of diagrams. Give flashcards a try, because if you've never had to actually do any hardcore revision in the past, you may not know what method works for you. So in your first year, if you have some extra time, make sure that you try different methods and who knows, maybe you'll find something that works better for you. So that's all from me for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you have any questions, pop them on our social media. We have Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Bye!